This is Declan McGonigal with the My Beach Business Podcast, where we talk with local business owners and investors on a variety of subjects. I hope you enjoy the show, and thanks for listening. All right, so today I've got Remy D'Angelo on the My Beach Business Podcast. Remy's in the real estate world, Remy's in the marketing world. Remy's in a lot of people's worlds. Why don't you tell them kind of what you want to tell people you're in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in the real estate world. I've been selling real estate here on the Grand Strand for about 5 years now.
Yep.
And I'm also in the marketing consulting world. So essentially I help businesses, whether they're having a marketing issue, a sales issue, maybe a management issue, or maybe all three. And through different things that I've learned and different formulas that I've created, even in my own businesses, I help people scale and do the things that they want to do on the internet.
Yeah.
That's kind of my joke to clients, right? Yeah. I kind of say, hey, if you can think of it, I can put it online, or I can help you create the vision on what you want to see digitally.
Yep.
So that's a little bit more on what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. You're a pretty awesome guy, and you're in my world. You help me on the, obviously you're a good friend, but you also help me on the lead side of things, right? And I think most people can agree the marketing, sales, getting leads. I mean, Alex Hormozi just dropped a book about it, right?
Right.
Getting leads is one of the most important things for your business.
Right.
Right? So let's talk today a little bit about, first off, you're starting a new business. How do you develop a strategy for finding leads?
Right. Yeah.
I know that's a big, broad question, but
yeah, it's super broad, but and I talk to clients about this, and of course, even in my own business, you deal with leads and the sales process within that, right? And it all comes down to connecting with more people and building your community within any business. It doesn't matter if you're in car sales, real estate sales, tech sales. It's building your sphere, connecting with more people, and having the conversations that need to be had. Because in the end, lead or no lead, or we hear the word hot lead, or how do I get my business from A to Z, and how do I grow super fast? It boils down to one, like I said, connecting with more people. But in the end, like I just mentioned, people are people.
Right.
And, having that relationship is super important in order to, really grow. And I've found success in my business by, doing that. And a lot of my clients have too that I've helped.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like there's two types of ways, like on a very simple level of finding leads. One is like a super direct. You're going straight to the source. You're calling, someone that can refer them, or maybe you're going and visiting an office where they can refer stuff to you, or maybe you're going door knocking, right? And you're selling solar roofs, right? And you're knocking on the person's door, trying to sell them right then and there. And then on the other side of it, you've got stuff like this. You got podcasts. You've got, maybe you can do YouTube videos, social media, email marketing, right? Stuff that maybe develops more so the brand rather than just going straight for the sale, straight for the kill.
Right.
What if someone's starting out? What's like a balance of that, right? Do they try to maybe start with like a multi-prong approach, or do they go try to find that one thing that they can do good with, focus on that for a while, and then get into the other stuff?
Well, I think it even starts a little bit before that. So one, and this is something that I've learned and many others talk about, by the way, it's perfecting your offer or perfecting your service, right? Because it doesn't matter necessarily, if it's, a great customer, or let's just say not a bad customer, but someone who's on the fence or not as motivated, right? Because we classify, sales based on motivation. But if you don't have a good process, a smooth process, or you don't have an amazing product, or your prices don't match that service or product, in the end, it doesn't really matter how you market, because then your whole system's flawed. So it's a mixture of everything that creates that 360, and I think that's really important to nail down first. And then, some of the tactical ways, of course, you've got, digital marketing and traditional marketing. getting it out to all people and all things, depending on your industry, and then targeting, certain people or people who would be interested in that product. Let's just boil it down to, let's just say, digital ads. If you're in the digital ad space like I am, targeting different niches and understanding, those who are interested in your product or those who are not, that's how I would say would be the best way to go about it.
Get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What on the digital side? Well, I feel like the digital side, would you say, is that a step up or a little bit more advanced of a realm than versus, kind of some of your old school techniques? Like I said, cold calling, maybe direct mail is an older technique, door knocking. Like, is digital something you would get into right off the get-go? Do you think it's like that important with ads and social media and website and all perfecting all that stuff? Is it that important to start on the right foot with that stuff from the get-go?
Well, here's what I'll say to that. Everything works. It doesn't matter what you do. It's just a matter of how long you do it,
right,
and how good you do it. Right? Because there's some people who market only online, and they're like, that's amazing, it works great for my business. And then there's someone who says, oh, well, digital marketing doesn't work. Yeah. My mailers, or maybe my sphere and word of mouth and me handing out my business cards at coffee shops works. And that could be a couple of things. Maybe the market, of course, is responding better to that.
Right.
Or maybe their strategies just aren't as good as person A online.
Right.
So every way works. It's just a matter of being consistent with it, strategizing, how you're going to do that, and then also what's your offer, what's your product.
Right.
Because even if it's a bad marketing strategy, if it's a great product and it's a great service, and somehow somebody sees that, you might actually lead to growing that business. But the biggest thing in all of it, and I tell all my clients, especially during onboarding, if I ever talk to someone and they're a little bit on the fence or they've got to get things in order, the biggest thing when it boils down to marketing is just starting, right? Because in sales, at least, and this is in my own personal world, sales roll in, for the most part, depending on what industry you are, let's just relate to my industry, it rolls into 90-day cycles. So I measure it through that. And I'll only know if certain strategies work in my world based on 90 days. Now, some people, they base it on 30 days. It depends on the industry. So I'm speaking more vague and broad than anything right now. But every industry is similar in ways in terms of marketing and understanding metrics and different things like that. But getting started and perfecting and changing things based on the market and how it's responding is so important.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you're and I'm going to get really specific, if you're a landscaper here in Myrtle Beach, I'm trying to think about not a general job, but that's landscape. There's a lot of good landscaping companies here locally, and I know some friends that have started landscaping companies. You're starting a landscaping company here in Myrtle Beach. If you're not familiar with the area, Myrtle Beach is really driven by tourism. Real estate is a big industry down here. So it's not really a big city, right? Myrtle Beach is kind of more your suburban, beach town, right? So that's kind of context on the market. You're a landscaper. You want to start a company here. What are you starting with first on the marketing side of things?
For landscaping, one, obviously making sure your team is set up properly, right? That's important in any business, like I mentioned. But on the other side, I would go really hard on digital, especially in that industry. Because if you think about it, the amount of people that are buying homes, a lot of these homes, especially single family, we already know that the HOAs typically, depending on the neighborhood, don't include lawn service. Right. So you've got a lot of people who are moving here from out of town, and they're not from here. They don't know anybody here. They're here to kind of start fresh, or maybe they got a new job. That being said, there are a lot of services that, one, they're either relying on the people that help them get here, connect with them, Or two, they just have no idea, so they're going to go to Google and they're going to search, just like you and I.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm looking for a nice restaurant, or I don't know, maybe I need a tool or a product, I'm going to go on Google and do a simple search like, need someone to cut my lawn, or best landscapers near me. So one, targeting that. Two, your system is making sure you answer the phone.
Yeah.
And then three, it's nurturing that entire, you know, sphere of what you're marketing, because that's a whole nother thing that's really important in order to convert and transact in that way.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times people are looking around and they're shopping in 3 to 4 different places, which is great, and they should. But at the same time, the things that make companies stand out the most is one, being top of mind at all times, whether that be digital, over the phone, and we do that through nurturing, you know, using different marketing tools and softwares.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's how I would tackle
Dude,
it.
you handled that well. That's a good one, and I think that's a good point. Is again going back to the importance of your market. You know, it's also an older market here. Not as many. You can't find a lot of great landscaping products, if you will, online here. I mean, it may be different elsewhere, but I just think about some of the contracting companies, and not a lot of them have like really, let's just call them decent, built-out websites. You know, a decent Google business page, kind of the stuff that you would say is like base level, you would think, for most businesses. You know, website, Google Business, make sure we're showing up on Google Maps, Google Reviews, maybe being on Yelp or Nextdoor, whatever those sort of channels are that people use in neighborhoods. Kind of the simple stuff. That is a really good point that you should get that dialed in first. Would you say that, you know, website, maybe running ads, figuring out that stuff at the beginning, in my opinion, you really have 3 options. You can do it yourself, you can find someone to consult you on it, or you can pay somebody to, and you're hands off. Starting out, you know, this person's got some business coming in, they're moderately successful, but it's only year 1, year 2. Where do they go from there to really take it to the next level? Do they keep doing it themselves, figure it out themselves, find a consultant, hand it off completely? What do you think?
I think it matters on a couple of things. One, how you value your time as a company, right? And where you're justifying your costs. When I look at it and I look at different things in my personal business, and I'll just talk about me, and I need something done, but let's just say, like, I can do it, but I might not be the best at it, and there might be some learning hurdles. I may seek somebody who knows how to do it way better than me.
Right.
That saves me time to go look for other opportunities to, one, grow my business, and, you know, those costs are then justified, or I don't really notice it. And I think that's really important. So going kind of around that fact, you know, you can always do things yourself, and I think it's great, especially starting out, because I think in terms of the marketing world, when people start a business, because I have some clients that they're either just starting out, and then I have some very established clients, but the ones that are just starting out, a lot of my conversations at the beginning before I meet them, you know, sometimes it took them so long to start because they're like, I need the greatest website, or I need the greatest logo, and I need this, and this. And yes, you need all those things, and those are really important, but just get started if you're planning to start a business, and then learn how to do all the rest, you know, in time, or, you know, hire somebody who knows how to do that. Because in the end, if you're not focusing on growing the business at all, and you're just waiting around brainstorming ideas, well, then you just don't have a business.
Right.
But it's much easier to build and grow and connect and network and, you know, establish something without everything being perfect. Because here's the thing, what you think is perfect now, 6 months from now, you're going to look at it and be like, I want it completely different. Maybe. You know, because your mind changes on different things. And that's what I've learned in terms of, you know, marketing, even my own stuff. Yeah. At one point, I created something, because all my companies have my in-house marketing, because I have a marketing company, consulting company. Sometimes I'll design something, and a year later, I'm like, the brand shifted. Maybe my messaging's different, or maybe how I want the presentation to look is different. So I think that's really important.
And how do you know it? How do you know when you need to make that shift? Is it like, okay, leads aren't coming in, it's been a little slow? Or are you like trying to get ahead of it a little bit because you notice something's changing with the market or your competitors? Like, when do you know to make that shift?
A lot has to do with timing.
Yeah.
It also depends on the business. If we're speaking broadly about just businesses in general, depends on the business, right? And how someone looks at it. In terms of like actual branding and stuff, sometimes that's just my own internal thought process. In terms of like if sales are happening, for me it's 90 days. Looking at that, do I need to shift something? I don't base it off of a couple days. Like, oh, it's been a rough couple days with how sales are. Or maybe my marketing's not getting traction. I don't look at it like that. Sometimes it's 6 months on certain things. Sometimes it's a year. You just have to base it on whatever specific thing you're doing. Is it leads? Are you trying to gauge your website? Did you just write a book? Because I work with a couple of authors, and maybe it's not going to. It just really depends. So it's pretty broad.
Okay. What are some of the what are some of the tools or things people should be looking at, or maybe learning about today? Not only tools, but maybe even skills that people should be developing if they own a small business. And again, this is like you said, I mean, it can be so broad talking about businesses and marketing, right? So just someone that's starting out again, maybe that landscaper is a good one to keep referring to, but someone starting out, like, what should him as a business owner be focusing on or learning to keep his business developing on the marketing side of things?
Right. So if they're going to do it themselves, I think, simple things really. There's not really a magical answer, but, simple forms of understanding how to create content. Basic website skills. The truth of the matter is, if they're building a business, that stuff is probably going to be only to a certain level of, being of quality, right? Unless they have a background in that. If right now if they're trying to build, a contracting, they're trying to become a great contracting company, or, the best plumbers in town, or HVAC, an owner, right, as an owner-operator, they're probably not the greatest person on the internet unless they have a background in it.
Right.
And if they want to become the best person at it, well, then they'd have to learn that and then take their eye off of some part of the business. But I'd say, basic form of content creation, understanding how to use your phone, to edit and stitch photos or videos, basic website creations, possibly running ads. But like I tell most clients, unless you really know what you're doing, there's a lot of other companies and people who are running these ads that live and breathe this, who have massive budgets and understand, tracking and how the algorithm works within it. Yeah. And they're probably gonna, beat you in that game. Yeah. So it's best to hire a professional.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe let the experts do the technicalities and maybe focus, or try to learn what your funnel looks like. Yeah. Right? Could you talk a little bit about what a funnel is and why it's important?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's something that I do as well. I have some clients, right, that want to do it, but they need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of a push, and I kind of help them and facilitate, what they're looking to do. Is it a sales process? Is it how do I get leads through the internet, or how do I build a website? All the way to the smallest, caliber of marketing or sales. That's what I do. But in terms of the funnel, it depends, right? If you're trying to do sales, if a lead comes in, having that process down and depends on who I'm consulting or who I'm marketing for, and creating specific follow-up plans and creating specific things that allow you to nurture leads or nurture whatever you're trying to do in order to, convert.
Yeah, definitely. What about the process of finding those? Let's not even talk about nurturing. This person's just trying to find leads. Should they? Because to me, a funnel, if you're not getting any business, to me would be and when we talk about funnels, this is kind of like, it's basically the beginning to end of a marketing process almost. Is that how you would describe it? Maybe like you're basically, you have just as a really general example, you're in the Myrtle Beach market, which we are. That's the top of the funnel is you have people in the Myrtle Beach market. The next layer of the funnel, as it gets a little bit more narrow, is people that are interested in your landscaping service. And then as you go down, it gets even more narrow. You have, folks that are in XYZ neighborhood that you want to service and are could be landscaping clients. Right, your funnel is kind of just the process of narrowing down to finally getting like a lead that you can work with and actually get someone that's going to possibly buy your product, right? So when I think, not even thinking about the nurturing stuff, is there a way that someone can start thinking about that funnel starting out and start developing that? Because like you said, you can really get a website guy that's an expert in that and design the website funnel, right? When a potential lead comes to your website, they figure out that trickle down of converting them. What about someone that's starting out? And tell me if this is stupid, but I think there should be some thought towards what that funnel looks like. Yeah,
and I think you're relating to more like capturing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it starts out with your offer and making sure you have a great, crafted offer.
Yeah.
And then secondly, you have this great offer. How do you capture people? Right? Well, you do it through either digital or traditional. Let's relate it just for example's sake to just digital.
Yeah.
Right? So, for instance, let's just say I'm selling a computer.
Yeah.
Okay? Just real simple, a computer. You've got, and we'll target the United States, right? Everybody who's looking for a computer, right? How do you capture these people? Well, one, you're going to run digital ads. Or are you going to do Google? Or are you going to do Facebook ads? Those are the two big ones.
Right.
There's other ones, right?
Right.
For something like that, I'd probably run Google ads, right? And then running digital ads based on, different metrics and different things that people are interested, which Google's algorithm and different websites' algorithms that kind of cross between them, understands people's natural habits, what they're looking for, and targeting them based on that. That's really just a broad description.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when people search, it's bringing them to, whatever ad you're running. And then once you're on that landing page, then it's, how's your landing page crafted? Is it interesting enough for them to submit?
What's a landing page?
A landing page is essentially a page within a site, right, that brings someone to a product or a service. And then has the ability to capture them either through some sort of sign up, inputting your phone number, email, name, or capturing your information somehow to then bring it to a sales team or some sort of, individual or automated system to then nurture that person or help them, through the process of whatever they're trying to purchase or look for at the time.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, then it's, whether they're either going to purchase the product or move forward with that, or depending on your sales cycle, maybe it's a little bit longer. And then you have to put them to that nurturing cycle. Yeah. And those nurturing cycles, it depends on the business. I know we keep saying that, but it really does.
Yeah.
Because some people, it might be a quick sale. It's like, hey, you have one specific job, or maybe this is for a product for a big company. And those can take 6 months because you've got to talk to XYZ,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your whole cycle. Yeah, that's one thing we've definitely learned about talking is it's really specific to the business. So if how about, wrapping it up, if someone wants to find you and they want some help on this marketing side, or maybe want to have some sort of consulting call with you or get help on that end, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can just look me up at remydangelo.com. So D'Angelo, Diangelo.
Gio,
Don't mean
okay.
to spell it out, but
Yeah.
people misspell it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you can link up with me there.
Okay.
And we'll talk soon.
Sweet. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I think it was good discussion. I feel like we started what should have been the end.
Yeah.
And then we came to the beginning. But we were trying to figure it out on the fly. But hopefully it provides some value. Thanks for watching, guys. Gonna have Remy is gonna be a recurring guest, I'm sure. So keep listening. Make sure you subscribe somehow on whatever platform you're on, and keep watching. I'm gonna keep the episodes coming. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.